Hello, everybody. Thank you for sticking around for Act Two, the talkback. It's always my favorite part where we get to know some wonderful artists in our community. And let me see. I'm going to invite our wonderful panelists to come on and turn their cameras on. So, Sara, who we just saw, are you here? Oh, perfect, perfect. Jason. So, Sana, I'm going to read your quick little bio in case people didn't know how amazing you were just from your performance.
Oh,
So, yeah, Sana is not only an actor, but an activist and an ambassador for the UN. Very cool. And Sana spent a good portion of her adult life practicing human rights law in London, working closely with Amnesty International and the International Bar Association. And she was well on her way to the UN as part of their legal affairs team until she was invited to audition for Juilliard, and she ended up going to drama school for a bit. That's where I got to know Sara, which is wonderful. And after getting her MFA from Harvard, Sara went on to receive international recognition in His Only Son and is now a series regular on the Netflix original Young Wallander. This is an amazing show. I hope you get a chance to check it out. And we are joined by amazing author Yumi Sakugawa. And Yumi is a second generation Japanese Okinawan American interdisciplinary artist. And I said author because her published books include I Think I Am in Friend Love with You, which I have, and Your Illustrated Guide to the Universe, Becoming One with the Universe, which I also have, and The Little Book of Life Hacks, which was given to me as a birthday present when it first came out. So I feel like I own all of your books. They are amazing and wonderful and fun and deep and quirky, all the things you want out of life, and they make great gifts. So, hey, holiday shoppers, I have a gift idea for you. And Yumi's also been published in BuzzFeed, Bitch, the Best American Non-Required Reading 2014, and exhibited multimedia works at the Japanese American Museum and Peabody Essex Museum and the Smithsonian's Arts and Industries Building. So quite an incredible resume. And we are now joined by Jason Genao. Hi, Jason. So Jason over here is a New Jersey-born Dominican-American actor known for playing Ruby Martinez in Netflix's On My Block, an amazing show as well. I recently got into it and I am hooked. And you might recognize him also as Richter in Logan. So cool. And also Napoleon in The Get Down, another great show. So basically, Jason's one of the most sought after young actors in the biz. So we're so lucky to get to chat with him today. And we have a very special guest, super last minute addition, Navid Negahban, Sara's great friend. Thank you so much for joining us. We were so thrilled to be able to talk to Navid today. So Navid is an Iranian American actor, and you'll definitely recognize him from tons of shows, including 24, Homeland, FX's Legion, Netflix's Tehran, which is our artistic director Alex Pepperman's favorite shows, or one of the favorite shows. And he also starred as the Sultan in the live action remake of Aladdin, which was my favorite childhood movie. So I think we are just starstruck to be able to chat with you today. And thank you all so much for joining us. First, I want to just check in and see how you are all doing in this weird quarantine life. Let's start with Jason. How are
Hi.
you doing? What's your life
I'm
been like?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to say first of all, congrats to everyone. The show was amazing. Everybody was so good. But my life for quarantine has been really good. I actually can't complain. I mean, I did at the beginning of quarantine, I had actually had an encounter personally and with my dad with coronavirus. He was affected, I was affected. We're all good now, but it was kind of hard at the beginning. Now it's so funny because I think you know, even though there's been so many ups and downs, I found a lot of ups in this whole 2020 thing. So I thankfully and luckily can't really complain about, you know, my life during this whole coronavirus thing.
Right, yeah. And you are currently working, right?
I'm
Did
not
I tell
working
me?
at the moment.
Oh, you wrapped.
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have had some projects that I was supposed to do, but then they got pushed, and because they were in different countries
Ah,
and stuff, and the whole travel thing and the bands, and so everything's just kept getting pushed. But
mm-hmm.
I do have some projects that I'm supposed to be doing at the moment.
Yeah, and we will can't wait to see them when they're available for us. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here today. Because we're
Of
still lucky.
course.
Because if you weren't here, you would have been in Bogota filming a movie, or so I heard. So
Yeah, yeah,
so many exciting
yeah.
opportunities. Hopefully that still
I know.
happens. Just like
Oh,
when maybe where the
100%.
weather's a little better. I don't
Yeah, when the
know.
world isn't ending.
And yeah, Yumi, how has your quarantine life been?
Hi, other Yumi. Thank you so much
Other
for.
Yumi, yeah.
I just want to also say thank you to all the performers who performed. It was such a treat to be treated such a wide diversity of mediums and stories and voices from all of you. To answer your question, Laura, it's been an up and down cycle. I feel like it changes by the day, even by the hour. But thankfully, I feel like my quarantine experience has been luckier than most. I've been still able to work on my art, which is a pretty solo practice. And also this year, I really focused on teaching mindfulness and meditation through virtual webinars. So that's been a great way to connect with people during the pandemic. And I also started dating a guy right before quarantine. So
Ooh, so lucky. Oh, can't wait to hear all about that. Not in this professional setting, but in our late night catch up. Nice. Congratulations. That's
thank
so
you.
exciting. I am amazed at people who are like, I met my partner for the rest of my life during quarantine. I know several people who were like, I took an online acting class and now I was in New York, boyfriend's in LA, and we met up and now we are official. Like, what? That never would have happened
Amazing.
before quarantine. So, I mean, you were right before, which is even luckier. So, congratulations. And I'm so glad you're still able to create, and maybe even more so because I feel like you have the space and the time. The hard thing is getting the energy up and finding inspiration when the world seems so dark. So, I would love to hear more about your mindfulness techniques. But speaking of mindfulness, I need to ask Navid. Hi, Naveed. Thank you so much for being here. I know it was the show became a lot longer than we because we just wanted to chat with everybody. So I am so grateful that you were able to make this part of our show. And I saw one of your interviews, and you had said, "You will see the truth when you're blind, and you will hear the truth when you're deaf." I feel like that's such a beautiful mindfulness exercise, wise words. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm barging in on
Yeah.
you, all of you guys.
Oh no, we're so
And
lucky.
especially, please, I was trying to write to Samantha. I'm
Mhm.
so embarrassed that I barged in on her with the video while she was performing. Please, if you can reach out to her, tell her I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Amazing
Oh my
job.
gosh.
I apologize for it. And
Oh, she's great.
well, see, the thing is that we grew up with um, all these voices in our heads, as the voices of our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, the guy down the street, our principal at the school, and that is what forms us. It makes us who we are.
Mhm.
And sometimes we carry their fears and their point of view as we get older. Uh, the best thing is that for us to find a ground zero. And when you find a ground zero is that you need to wash your eyes, wash your ears. You need to be blind. You need to be deaf. You shouldn't be looking at someone and judging the person based on what you have seen and what you have
Mhm.
heard, because every time that you're meeting a person, there's a new encounter. And
Mm.
you have to be blind. You have to be blind. You have to be deaf. You have to let this to come to you, not what you have heard and what the news is telling you and what the other people are telling you what it is. I traveled around the world. I I'm a refugee. I was in a refugee camp in Germany, and our camp, it was really fenced camp with the barbed wires around it. And coming through that journey, you realize that you don't want to be like other people looking at others the way that they looked at you. Then you want to have a new point of view, and that's why I'm saying you have to be blind to see the truth. You see what is in front of you, not what has already no preconceived notions. I hope I was able to explain myself.
Oh, absolutely. Those are such wise words. We all can live to encounter every single thing with fresh eyes, like a baby, or, just the judgment doesn't need to be there. And I think we'll be so much happier for it.
And that's why I don't want to take too much of your time, but see the things that, for example, I was working in Jordan. While I was working in Jordan, we had a security guard. The security team were with us. We couldn't move around, and I told the guy, I said, I'm more in danger. You're walking around with a gun to your belt and a suit and tie in a village that everybody is walking with the sandals. Just leave me alone. Let me be. And those people, they took me in so warmly. I still have the gifts, the presents that the village people gave me to bring back. And all of them, they invited me to their homes, and I was there, and I loved it. I mean, that's how I see the world, and it's been beautiful.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think that's especially important now in America, when it's easy for us to take on information from the media or wherever. And whenever we see artists on stage or behind the scenes, there are always like stories that we assume about people. And I want to hear from you all about any experiences that you feel like, you know what, my story is very different from the stereotypical stories you might see in the media or anything like that. Does anyone have a story they want to share about experiences where you wish they had come to you with a clean slate understanding of who you are? I can go Navid and then Sara. I feel like Sara, you had something to say. Then Jason.
I'm too old and I have tons of stories, so I will listen to you guys.
Love it. Oh, this is great. Jason? Do you have a story? Oh, you can think on it for a second. Sara, I feel like you leaned in to speak just now.
No, I would love to hear Navid finish. I cannot say enough about Navid. I literally told him about this an hour before the show, and this is one of the reasons I love and admire him, because he's just constantly looking for ways to give back in whatever way he can to the community of us artists. On that note, he's also creating this studio called the Romani Studio. For everyone who doesn't know, it's going to be this legendary studio in LA, in which he's creating an incredible space for artists to come, to perform, to put classes, hopefully after COVID. So many thanks to him. I want him to finish.
Wait, can I put that in the chat for everybody?
Absolutely. It's got an Instagram page called Romani Studios.
ROMA?
I'll let Navid explain that.
Perfect.
Is ROMANY Studios, and is at Romani Studios. And it's a center, because when I came to LA, Sarah, you're terrible. You're bringing. I was just here to say thank you for having me, not this. Okay, the story goes far back. I mean, when I came to Los Angeles, I know that all of us we have difficult times surviving in Los Angeles, and there were days that I literally I have stories to tell. I slept on the park benches on the backseat of my car. So this is a facility that we have a studio space, which
a real live rehearsal studio.
This is a sound station. Actually, I'm sitting. This is a fan where I'm sitting, and so it's is a sound stage, and then we have a house that we can house up to 8 artists, which I'm still working on the house. I'm still trying to finish it. And then in the front we have a gas station. The building is from 1903, so it's an old building. And in the front we have a gas station that I'm turning it into an ice cream coffee shop. So the artists who are coming here, they can live in the house, they can use the facility, and
Wow.
at the same time they can work at the ice cream shop if they want to make some cash. And
Incredible.
we have space for street artists that they can come and paint the walls. Professional photographers, they come, they take a picture. At the end of the year, we will have an exhibition for them. Whatever is sold, the artists, they will get their money. And so this has been my dream. I mean, I wish I had this place when I got here. So I'm building it just to just to have it. I mean, it's
Wow.
And can I just say, SoHo Shakes, I've made a promise that SoHo Shakes is going to put up plays at the Romani Studios.
Yes.
These wonderful people are incredible actors, artists, coaches, musicians, dancers. It's a beautiful place to like come together and, you know, do this, but together, hopefully after COVID.
please, I hope so. See, the thing is that we just got our
Wow.
nonprofit. We became nonprofit
Yes.
entity.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. So the way that's going to work is that whatever the studio is producing, we are using some of the funds, the artists that we are raising fund to produce, and then when the production is sold, then we will donate some money back into the foundation for next artist. And this way, there's a circulation of the money that is being generated by the artist for the artist. So we are all paying forward, and all of us, we are family. I mean, this is I started my career in Germany, and in Germany we had they never cared where I'm coming from. I mean, I played French, Italian, Russian, Turkish, Iranian, Syrian. But unfortunately, here in America, our industry is very prejudiced. They're judging us based on the way that we look, our accent, and it's like that they have forgotten that when they go to see the signers here, 80% of the doctors, they are foreigners, and they have accents that they have more heavier accent than I do. And our industry is kind of blind, and actually people like Yumi who are writing, you guys should be the ones who are generating. I mean, we need to have diverse voices that they're coming in, different colors from different places, for all of us to tell our stories and then support each other to create, to do something.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody is welcome. I mean, whatever I have is a piece of cake. Everybody can come, dip in, just taste it, do whatever you want to do. But at the same time, you have to take care of the place. The place needs to be running. So that's it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So exciting. And I'm glad you talked to Yumi, because I had my next question for Yumi, which was, how do you have your collaborative, by yourself, creative process? How do you generate ideas without a beautiful space like Romani space or Romani Studios? Do you have your own like special desk or your favorite pen? What's your process like?
Well, I do have a morning routine that I do every day. So it's 20 minutes of silent meditation and 3 pages of a practice called morning pages, which is from Julia
The
Cameron.
Artist's Way.
Yes,
I
The
just
Artist's
started
Way.
that last month.
Oh,
This is
amazing.
changing my life. We'll talk more about that too.
Yeah.
I mean, boys and morning pages changed my life.
What was the first one?
Oh, boys, just having a boy or a partner in the life is nice. You're winning at
For
life
sure.
for me. So start with that, and then you go into your work writing, or do you use your morning pages as your creative generation process?
I see morning pages as sort of as turning on an old faucet and you're just letting the rust water run out before the water turns clear. So it's really just emptying out the trash of my brain, my subconscious. And to be honest, I haven't been very inspired during quarantine. I feel like I had to really just focus on a stable baseline of okayness. So I've sort of given myself permission to not pressure myself to work on long-term creative projects like books, which is what I usually do, and instead sort of focus on just having fun creatively in a way that doesn't translate to finished projects or professional work. So for example, I've been cooking a lot, which is awesome, which is also a great skill in quarantine. And also,
Sara's a great cook. So you get her phone number.
Amazing.
Trade recipes.
I can always use cooking info. And also I've been taking movement classes, and I'm not formally trained in any way in dance or movement. So I've just sort of been using this time to just sort of fill my own well, to sort of recharge myself. It's sort of the inhale. It's a long inhale I'm doing before whenever this next exhale is going to happen. And just being patient with myself.
Beautifully put. Yes. I feel like I did a big exhale when Biden Harris was announced.
Oh, definitely.
Like, oh, but it's still like but yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And Yumi, can you remind me how you started? Because I feel like when I knew you through elementary school and Japanese school, you were like always just kind of, I don't know, like quietly writing things, but I didn't have any idea your illustrations would like expand the world for all of us. Like, it's just so cool that you came up with these amazing ideas. What were you like as a kid? And how did you get your start in the creativity stuff?
What was I like as a kid? I saw on Twitter something that made me laugh, which is that you're either funny or you had a happy childhood. I thought that was so funny. Not to say that my childhood was completely unhappy, but I feel like I was just like really shy, really insecure, really kind of daydreamy and spacey, and I felt like as I imagine a lot of people here, books and art and reading books and drawing and just doing creative, introverted things, those were sort of my escape. And I feel like I just sort of kept doing it. And I just knew for most of my childhood and adulthood that I definitely wanted to channel these creative impulses into some kind of body of work that I could then share with the rest of the world.
Oh, wow. I feel like that's everybody's dream, right? To be able to do what you loved as a child and continue to do it as an adult and make money. So congratulations on succeeding at life. Like, that's just
Thank
awesome.
you. All of us, I think.
Yeah.
Being creative.
Yeah. I mean, I want to turn it over to Jason now as the youngest artist in this room. What was your beginnings? What were your beginnings like? What were you like as a kid? I mean, you still probably relate to being a kid because you play one. But on the block, it's just, you're so good at that. What were you like as a kid, and is it different from the characters you portray?
Well, I'm funny, so the childhood was. I'm joking. I don't know. I really was like, as a kid, I think I was pretty normal. As a kid, I was really family oriented. Like, we all landed in Jersey City. My father has 14 brothers and sisters, and they all decided that if they were going to come to America, they were going to, all be in the same place. So I grew up within like a 1 mile radius of like all my aunts and uncles and cousins, and
Wow.
that's everyone I knew. And it wasn't until I was like 14, and then my cousins had moved to Pennsylvania, and that's when I had to branch out on my own. I think that's when like I sort of fell into the whole acting thing, because I was like, well, I kind of want to do this. And now that I have time, it was like sort of a blessing that they left, because I think I probably would have just like stood in that whole world where I'm like, my cousins are my best friends and I just want to hang out with them. But when they left, I was like, let me look for something to do that's just for me. And so I did that, and it didn't work out too well. Like I tried to go into like these acting schools, like in elementary school and whatnot, but I just couldn't get to them. Like I got accepted, but we didn't have a car to take me there. Like I was too young, and like my parents worked or whatnot, so they're like, I can't really. It was like after school programs. So then when I was 17, um, turning 18, I was like, let me just try one more time, because my guidance counselor keeps talking about college, and I'm really scared. So I was like, before I go to college, let me just give it one more shot. And so I had signed up for the Barrel Group in New York, and they didn't want to like. I auditioned. You have to audition to get in, and then I kind of was like emailing them back and forth, because they're like, well, "You were good, but you're only 17, and this is an adult class." And I was like, "I promise you, 2 days after the class starts, I will be 18, and I will technically be an adult."
That's amazing.
And so they were like, and then like a week later, they're like, "Okay, you can join. You can join." And so
Awesome.
that's how I got my start in all of this.
The rest is
The Barrel Group,
history.
right?
Yeah. And you basically got discovered, right? By our wonderful manager, Lori Smith. She's the
Yeah, I love
best.
her
What to
so
say? Yeah.
much.
I hope
Yeah,
she's
it
still
was
here.
just a showcase at the end of the year. And we just all had to prepare a monologue for him. We'd walk in, and I was like really nervous. And so I let everyone go ahead of me. And then finally I was like, there was one guy who was like, no, I'm going last. Like, you have to let me go last. And I was like, okay, fine. And also I'm taking the train back home, so let me just hurry up so I can leave. And then I just did it, and she's just there, and I don't know, she's just like, here's my card, and just talk to me. She's like, are you still in school? I was like, maybe. She's like, talk to me when you're done with this. And so I
Man.
did.
Mhm.
And that's, yeah, it was through a monologue with Lori Smith. The rest is
So
history.
fantastic. Yeah, Lori is the best. Oh, that's
She
so
really
great. It's
is.
also so refreshing to hear origin stories like this. It's just like, every artist started somewhere, and it's amazing. Like all of your careers are in this incredible place already, and to think that, you know, I feel my personal opinion is that artists of color sometimes have to work way harder to prove ourselves. And so my next question was going to be something along the lines of, what do you love about being an artist of color, or what have your biggest challenges been being an artist of color, especially in 2020? So while you think on that, I want to give a quick little update about our fundraiser, because thanks to the incredible artists that join us today, we are so close to hitting our $4,000 goal. I mean, $5,000 our main goal, but we're just at $3,989.55. We're so close. So if anyone who's here can help us get over to the 4,000 mark, we would be so thrilled. And remember to keep sharing about us. And we just love your support, because then we can support our artists. So now we're back to the panelists. I think this is going to be one of our last questions. So let's make it good. Just kidding, no pressure. Does anyone have any stories they want to share about what they love or find challenging about being an artist in 2020? Sara and you.
I mean, this is interesting because I think everyone would agree that we're loving the shift that is happening. I mean, there's the industry's finally championing diversity and ethnic ambiguity, but I think a lot of people would probably relate to this. And I think Navid pointed out that it's the early stages, and they're sort of trying to define, and Hollywood always does this in the beginning, which is a very sort of, they have this tunnel vision of what is the other, and a lot of it has to do with how people look. So what as Navid was saying, like obviously I'm Persian. Funny enough, and on every legal, one would think that I'm an artist of color, but like there's disagreements about that, because literally on every government official paper we're like Caucasian, because they don't have a specific thing like Middle Eastern. So, and what's been happening, what I've noticed is like a lot of times, because you don't look very much of one thing, you won't necessarily get cast, even for like a Persian role or somewhere from the Middle East, because you're sort of in between the shades. And you know, there's this, which kind of takes me back to a lot of auditions that I've done. Like I was, I'm not going to name them, but I remember losing one to a wonderful, beautiful lady who was African American, and I was like, I was thinking to myself, and we constantly amongst friends, we talk about this. Is that, and I know this might sound controversial, is that an overcorrection of previous scenes? And I was like, no, this is a start. This is like, this lady is going to pave the path for the next generation to come. And I know a lot of it has to do with like, obviously money, because these production companies want diverse, because as you said, America, the society we live in is diverse. Like you cannot open the window and not notice how beautiful and colorful the world out there is. And they're tapping into that. And you can sort of kind of like doubt their intentions. But does it matter? Does the intention matter when the ends justify the means? So I think the shift is great. I think personally, yes, there have been times where I go, oh, I lost it to someone who looked more Middle Eastern than me. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Whatever that is. Yeah. Because it's like a whole, you know, there's like tons of countries in that region. Whatever
half of the show was about being mixed race, right? Like our freaking MC was like, who am I?
Yeah. No one knows where to place us. You don't even fit because you're like ethnically ambiguous. And that's sort of like, what? I mean, what range does that put you in when you, especially in this, as we talked about, we already have to compete against well-established artists who have credits a lot more than others, and then we have to kind of, as Navid was putting, that we assert the fact that we have the skills, we can do different accents, we can be different things, we have different stories to tell. So I think, you know, just to kind of summarize, I think we're in the right direction, and you know, we're going to lose out on stuff, but it's happening, and we should get on board, and we should, as Navid put it and Yumi was saying, we should create our own work. And every now and then, in the midst of this darkness, there's like a crack, light shines through. You know that you're amongst your own community of people who are like-minded and want to do things. So it's just a matter of communication, planning, and getting things done.
Yes. Oh, I love that summary, Sara. The lawyerly summary, the closing statement.
I should go back to that.
I mean, no, don't, never. We need you as an artist. The world needs actress Sara Seyed. But also, like, I just think it's fascinating because on a personal level, I used to go in for only Chinese accented English roles. That was like 6 years ago, right? And now all the roles I get to go in for are like, they don't ask for accents. Like, it's kind of actually rude if they ask for accents. They're writing roles for people like me or you or you or you. You know, it's just awesome because they're finally bringing more diversity to the creative process. So it's an all-around win-win situation.
Laura, remember you were telling me you went to an audition where they asked you, can it be more Asian? Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like,
what does that mean? You want me to talk like this? Terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, we are in a better place now. Still lots to go. Still much further to go, but progress is something we should celebrate. And Yumi, you had your hand up for answering this question. What was the question? Oh yes, your joys and challenges of being an artist in 2020, artist of color in 2020.
I think what.
Sorry, I just got distracted by the chat. Shasha, I was like, they asked me to please make it more Egyptian.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
He's like, I'm not Egyptian though. What does that even mean? Yeah, and Christina doesn't forget anymore. Okay, I'm so sorry. I won't interrupt.
No, that was awesome. I think because all this diversity consciousness that's finally happening is such uncharted territory, I think then people who are not represented, have not been represented, I feel like we then get to basically invent our own genres and be pioneers in whatever we put out into the world, because it is going to be one of the first or singular things that no one else has seen. And speaking for myself, I went to UCLA. I was never formally trained as an actor, but I was in the Asian American theater group at UCLA that was founded by Randall Park, and Ali Wong was also an alumni of the theater group. And I remember back then a big sort of the buzzword was just like, oh, representation. We need more Asian American faces in the media. And certainly so much has changed in the last 10 to 12 years since I've been in college. And I think now I see the conversations becoming more nuanced, where it's not just about representation, but more so how do we also not only bring in more representation, more diverse faces into the media, but also how do we change the very power structures that create things like gatekeeping, create things like those boxes, those binaries of like, oh, Asian enough, Egyptian enough, ethnic enough. How do we challenge the very standards that we are fighting so hard to get into? And of course, it's a nuanced question with many complex answers, and we get to answer that through our own communities and life work and collaborations. And so basically we get to create the future that we want, because nobody knows how to do it. So we get to I think there's freedom in setting the precedent for this big unknown.
Wow, that was so beautiful and inspiring, and also daunting at the same time. I think you're so right. Like, it is up to us, the artists, to speak out and make sure that we are creating the future that we want, not just as artists, but as people. And we have the power to do that if we want. Just the collaboration and the speaking is so important. Yeah. And we need people like you, Jason, the super young artists of this generation, to build a better future. I'm trying. Yeah. And I want to make sure you get a chance to answer. Like, do you have any fun stories of when you were like, I love the fact that I'm an actor of color, or this is really challenging because I'm an actor of color?
100%. Yeah. I think as an actor of color, it's like this love-hate relationship where Hollywood sometimes over-tries for your story. And I kind of almost love that, because it takes you out of the norm. You see these movies like the general, like, when like you get a love story, and then people who aren't of color, like they'll get The Notebook, which is amazing, whatever, but then people of color, we get Moonlight and things like that. And I think sometimes when they create a story of color, you get to reach a little bit beyond what the general norms are of what Hollywood has been telling the whole time. And many times it can be, better than what has been advocated or told as like the general love story for so many decades, So I think like there's this love-hate relationship where when Hollywood does tell a story for someone of color, it kind of steps a little over the normalcy, and I kind of love that. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes it's a little too much, but then other times it's like, especially as an actor, you're like, oh, I definitely want to do that, because it's, well, you gave the normal role to like that guy, that white guy, but then you wrote this like crazy John Leguizamo type of thing for me, and I totally want to portray something like that. So I sometimes I hate it, and sometimes I'm like, it's only gonna create a better character for me, and other times I'm like, well, here's the stereotype, and whatever, I guess I'll do it. But it's this balance and this love-hate relationship.
Right. You sometimes play by the rules so that you can break them later.
Right.
Yeah. Beautifully said, Jason. Yeah, I hope to see you play all of those roles. Navid, I
May
see
I say
you.
something? Jason, I love what you are doing, but know one thing. You
Yes.
are the one who determines
Mhm.
how the people are going to see you.
Mm.
You have a
100%.
voice. Whatever the script is, I have worked on the projects and I walked in, and sometimes the writers, they don't know what they're writing because they're not that familiar with that culture, with those,
Mhm.
they're not, they don't feel it. Your job as an artist is to go in and bring those words to life, bring that work to life. So you are the one who can show them what it is. So don't
Mm.
ever be silent. Don't ever be silent.
Mhm.
I've worked on the projects that there have been projects that I walked in and I had a I had a meeting. I'm so sorry. I'm barging in. I love what you are doing. The thing is that I got invited to New York. They flew me to New
Mm.
York. They set me up in this beautiful hotel. I had a meeting. I'm going for a meeting. I'm walking into a room. The person says, "Oh, they can make or break my career." And they're saying,
Whoa.
"Wow, you're from Persia." I said, uh, "Yes, I'm Persian." So, what part of Persia? Iran or Iraq? I said, "Well, what can I tell you? I mean, it used to be, now it's not anymore. This is what it is." So I came back and I got a package, a video about history of Iran, a lookbook of all the different looks in Iran, the
Mm.
geographic book, and an animation that shows the history. I packaged everything with some pistachios and baklava, and I sent it to New York. I said, "I would like to introduce my
Wow.
cousin to you."
Oh man, that's amazing.
So you are,
Hmm.
as they are saying, that you are the next generation.
Hmm.
You are the one who can make a difference.
Mhm.
You are the hope of the
Hmm.
future. You are the one who can make a difference. All of us, each of us, we have an expression in Iran. We say, others کاش دیگران کاشتن ما میخوریم ما میکاریم تا دیگران بخورن, which means others planted a seed, we are enjoying the fruit of it. Now we are planting a seed for next generation to enjoy the fruit of it, of that tree.
Mhm.
What kind of seed are you trying to plant?
Mhm.
That is what is important, and just keep going. I
Hmm.
never looked at myself as an actor of color or Iranian actor or Persian actor or German actor. I speak 5 different languages, but I never cared about attaching myself to any of those cultures. I'm just me. I'm
Hmm.
just an actor, and nobody else is like you. Nobody else is like me. Let them say whatever they want to say. There is no label.
Right.
Keep all these labels away. At the end, take your color away, take your religion, take your nationality, take where you came from, strip everything away. At the end, what is left is just a pure light. Is a light, is a source of light, is a pure white light, is just something that's inside you. That spirit could have landed anywhere. And that spirit, there's no difference between me, you, Sarah, Yumi, or Lara. All of us, we are the same.
Mhm.
Oh,
So make that
that
difference.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
I
for
am
that.
giving you a standing ovation through this Zoom.
Thank
Those
you.
were such beautiful words. You should also write a book because we could all learn so much from you. And I could keep talking forever because this is so inspiring, but I want to wrap this up just so we can all take our lights and go do something with it out in the world. So
I also,
thank you.
Laura, I just want
Yeah,
to say
yeah.
something just as an extension to what Navid was saying. And I think
Mhm.
this is extra important for young artists who are so worried because we're constantly gone, like we're basically, pushed into these situations in which every sort of decision we think can make or break us. And I remember now it's here, I'm going to say, Navid was like, I think you even told me, you were like, make the decisions that are right for you in the long term. And because of, I remember specifically on a very personal note, when I went for the show, this last one, I had this like fully fleshed dimensional like woman who's from the Middle East. I mean, initially she wasn't going to be, but then I put it on an accent. They liked it. We ended up going with that. But then they started cutting down on the sort of sexy, funny, humorous, charismatic scenes with the husband. And I was like, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't about cutting the scenes or having less lines or having less footage, which obviously is important for all of us actors. For me, it was like, I chose to do this because I felt like it's a chance, it's an opportunity for me to represent where I'm from in a much more dimensional and fully fleshed way. So as Navid and Jason and Yumi and all of you guys we're saying, just piggybacking off of what you all are saying, I think standing for what's right, even though at that moment feels very dangerous and you feel vulnerable and you think, whoa, if I were to email, which I did, by the way, I emailed the writer right off. I hadn't even seen him, met him or anything. And I wrote this long email about every scene and why I think this should be there, thinking, whoa, my manager's going to think this one's, I've got a crazy one on my hands. And she probably did, but it created an amazing relationship between me and the writers and the producers. And it felt like now my character is an extension of me, not just this other thing that I'm working on. So yeah.
Right.
If I can add something, I'm so
Of
sorry.
course you can.
If my daughter were here, she would have told me, Dad, you talk too much. But let me say this. I was auditioning for a project. I said something, and the director was in the room, very well-known director, and he told me, what is it that you're talking about? What are you saying? I said the lines. He said, no, these are not the lines. I said, no, these are the lines, but the way that you wrote it, it doesn't make sense because this man has a journey. He's not just a madman. And I said, the director walked out of the room. Literally, I said, shit, I just lost the job. Why can't I keep my mouth shut? But then I was proud. You know what? I said what I wanted to say, and I'm proud of myself. No problem. I'm walking outside. The director is waiting outside the room. He grabs my hand. He takes me into the office. The rest of the cast is sitting there. I'm just auditioning for the part. He's taking me into a room. He calls the writer, well-known writer, come into a room, sat us down, and said, right now, rewrite the character. This is the character that I want to see. See, sometimes they don't see it. And every door, as long as you are truthful to yourself and who you are, trust me, you will meet the people who they see you, they want to work with you, and they want to see the truth. And those are the people that you want to work with. If you're working on a project for a year long, you don't want to be miserable every day you are going to work. You want to work with the people who they see you. Every door that closes on you, slams on you, every part that you're losing, it wasn't your part. It's just a road sign. It's a direction. It tells you, you know what? Turn right, turn left. You will get there. As long as you're truthful to yourself. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No apologies. This is wonderful. Thank you all for your generosity and your wise words. I feel like we're all so much more inspired now. And I feel like I can go out and like plant my seeds and break down doors and shatter the glass ceiling and all of that. But
Go do